Hey everybody, it's Amanda Day with the Twin Cities Film Fest 2012. We are so excited. Tonight is our second day, and it's actually our first full day of a fully programmed day. So we've had some amazing sold-out shows. We're really, really excited. And our next screening, which everyone is really excited about, is a film called Bro. It's a fairly edgy film. And we actually have two people very, very involved with the film, the co-writer Kim, as well as one of the executive producers, Shaoky. So thank you, first of all, so much for being here. I'm an actress. Being at a film festival is so much better than just going to see a film, because people like you come and talk about your film, talk about the passions involved. Can you tell us, Kim, a little bit about the film itself? You're the writer. How did you come up with this concept?
Well, Nick Parada had originally wanted me to come on as a producer because he had a 6 or 10 page outline of about a story about a college kid who gets caught up with just the wrong crowd. And it wasn't until about the 4th or 5th draft when we got Metal Militia on board, that they came on board and said, well, you can't have a film about bros without motocross. Yeah. And so we added that into the screenplay, and and the motocross world is a very hard partying, edgy, drug usage. It can have that side to it. I mean, it's not all motocross people, though, as well. There are a lot of riders who take their sport very seriously. But the story of just a young kid wanting to get caught up with the wrong crowd is very common, and this movie has actually prevented some kids. I've had some good feedback from them joining the wrong crowd and doing the drugs and getting into the trouble that the film shows.
So, are you a writer by trade? Is that how you kind of morphed into the role of writing?
I'm a writer and an actress, so I morphed into it through acting and just reading a lot of screenplays, reading a lot of plays, and Nick pitched me the story, and I connected with it immediately. So I said, I can totally write this. And I wrote about 10 pages, and then Nick showed it to Shaoky, and Shaoky gave me the go-ahead to start writing it with Nick.
Now, Shaoky, a lot of people don't understand what a producer does. I think a lot of us get what an actress does, a writer, even a director. I've done producing before. It's so much work. Can you give us kind of an insider's view into especially what an executive producer does?
Sure. The easiest way, I think, to sum it up is a connector of people. So I'm looking for key people, whether it's the writer, the director, who's going to be attached. Is there a role for a specific person that should be part of the project? And I find that the more people you get involved early on that are talented and creative and really passionate about the project, then everything kind of just starts to fall into place like dominoes. You know, you need to flick that first domino for the rest to go down and to ultimately get to the finish line.
Another thing I think that a lot of people who maybe aren't in the film business is hard to understand is how many people it takes to make a movie. To make something that has really cinematic appeal, that has an amazing storyline, that has great actors. And I know something that is really in our kind of zeitgeist right now is Breaking Bad. Did this influence you at all as far as bringing drugs into suburbia, the whole idea that the common person is much more connected with the drug world? Did any of that influence you at all in your writing?
Not necessarily the show Breaking Bad, which is a fantastic show, but just in general, growing up, and you see that drugs are much more rampant, and they're much more in the news, like with bath salts and now synthetic drugs. But especially in the motocross world, I have a lot of respect for these guys because they're doing these death-defying tricks, and they fall and break things, and so a lot of them can be on painkillers and those drugs, and those can also be a form of a gateway drug as to overusing them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a lot of them smoke weed, and that's can be used as a pain medication.
Yes. And I think the world of motocross is a world that maybe a lot of us aren't familiar with, but it absolutely takes someone that has pretty major guts because they're doing some crazy stuff. Can you talk a little bit about how you created your lead character? How did you create this person that kind of holds the film together?
the lead character Johnny, he and Bo Manley, who played Jesse, the one who leads Johnny into this lifestyle. Johnny was. I identified a lot with Johnny because everybody has always had a moment in their life where they wanted to be a part of the cool crowd. Yeah. And so he sees this guy who seemingly has it all. He has the women. He has a fun partying lifestyle that it attracts him. And so Jesse, we wanted to show that he had some issues in the past, and he's tried several times to be rehabilitated, and sometimes rehab takes a long time and it's a process. And so we see him slipping back into a lifestyle that is not good and not supportive of his motocross goals and his talent.
Another question that I think is really poignant is women. Women in this story, women in the motocross world, women in sports world, especially a sport that's totally dominated by men, a sport that's dominated by a lot of bravado. Can you talk about how, maybe Shaoky, you can answer this too, how the role of women was portrayed in this film? Because I know the motocross world is very male dominated. So if you could answer that for us.
Putting me on the spot here.
Yes,
well, that was one of the things that was key in bringing on Kim, both for Nick and I and Robert Parada, who also produced. We didn't just want one-dimensional characters, and I think you can definitely see a three-dimensional character in Danielle, which is played wonderfully by Alexandra Mason. She did a fantastic job, and that was a very tough role to cast. We spent months and months looking for the right person. So I'm just proud to be part of a feature film that has known names such as, Larry Fessenden, Danny Trejo, of course, our two motocross wonderful actors, Bo Manley and Colin Scummy Morrison. But in addition, I think we gave a doorway, kind of that these new and unknown actors were able to open and hopefully for themselves and better themselves in their career. So that, to me, that's the most exciting part of it. But again, they wouldn't have been attracted if Nick and Kim hadn't developed these really three-dimensional characters.
Absolutely. And maybe, Kim, you could speak to that too.
As far as women?
Yeah.
Well, to me, the two women, there are three women in Johnny's life that really influence him. He has his first girlfriend, his second girlfriend, and his mom. And you kind of see through each of them a moral compass, whether it's way off or way on. Yeah. And I wanted each of the women, because I know a lot of guys get influenced by their girlfriends, and some are led down the right paths and some are led down the wrong, and there are girls that are not good for guys and there are girls that are just the right one. And so I wanted each girl to be very three-dimensional, very filled out, and using some of my own personal experiences for some of the characters, and some just from stories from girlfriends that I've heard and things that they've experienced with their own men. I just like to write from a very raw place of personal experience and stories from friends as well.
You guys must have had really good insurance for this, because some of those tricks are insanity. I'm sure you did. Who do you see is really connecting with this movie? What is the demographic of people that are like, oh my gosh, I'm totally connecting with this? Can maybe you speak to that?
It's definitely young guys in the motocross world, 14 to 17, that age range. And like I said, through the film, it's actually helped some kids make smarter choices, because one of, especially the Q&As that we've had with, after our West Coast premiere, we had Colin Scummy Morrison, who plays Rudy in the film, basically tell his story of the film really mirrors what happened in his real life, and he is now 6 or 7 months sober.
Wow. My mom actually works at a drug rehab facility, and I've seen firsthand, especially what meth can do. The most amazing thing that happens, tragically amazing, is that all those dreams you had for yourself, all those goals, they become secondary. And it seems like that is very, very well portrayed in the film, that these things that this person had that's so, I mean, their dream, their life dream, it starts slipping away. So we are so happy that you guys came here. We're so glad that we could have your film here. It's something that's a coming of age story, but it's a little bit grittier, a little bit more powerful than I think your typical, coming of age story. And I think it's really relevant in this age where our youth, that age demographic that you're talking about, they have a little bit different life than, a lot of the stories that we're told. So, Shaoky, maybe the last thing, if you could just talk to us a little bit about how we can look forward to see the film in wide distribution. We'd love to hear that.
Yeah, we've been fortunate enough to have a distribution deal with Grindstone Entertainment, which is a partner of Lionsgate. So everybody nationwide can catch it on DVD come December 18th. Now, you can download it on VOD, digital, but my preference is, and I say I'm old school because I have a massive library at home, I'd rather own the DVD. There's a ton of bonus materials that you're not going to get, seeing it online. So especially if you're interested in coming to great film festivals like the Twin Cities, and you're passionate about films, I say get the disc because there's a lot of commentary and it gives you an idea of actually the filmmaking process itself. If you unfortunately may have not been able to come out tonight, at least you'll get those behind the scenes, which are fantastic.
What I think is so great about a venue like the Twin Cities Film Fest right here at the Icon Theater is it allows people to be more than just viewers in the film world. You become kind of a participant. We get to talk to people like you that are passionate about the film. It's what makes a film festival so different than going and seeing a movie. So if you can't come out here today, please buy the DVD because it's a great film. It's exciting. We'll keep you on the edge of your seat. Maybe you'll have clawed hands at the end of it, which is good. So thank you guys so much. We really, really appreciate you coming, and let's go watch your movie.